everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Pro Division with the Tournament Wind here for the Summer Major Tournament in Golf Clash the Game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. Get the best guides on the market by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Can we get this video to 500 thumbs up? That would be amazing and I would be very thankful. Follow the info box on the right hand side here on the game screen to get the club distance and elevation adjustment combined with what ball and club I suggest you to use. Have in mind that you do not need to follow that, but there is always a plan behind it. So make sure to listen to my explanations and watch the content that is here in this video. Once again, massive good luck in the Summer Major Tournament and let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, we're looking to go left-hand side. Why don't we try to go over to the right-hand side? It's because we don't really have the driver for it. We don't have the ball for it. So I'm going to keep myself with a Kingmaker ball utilizing the side spin 3. 4.5 bar top spin and then 3 bars of side spin to the left, aiming with the red ring by the rough line. Adjustment is going to be maximum distance plus 10, and then after that I will apply overpower, and I will apply 4 rings of overpower if I do have 4.5 bar top spin on my driver. If I do have 6 bars of top spin, I will be using 3 rings of overpower instead. This because obviously the top spin will make us go, longer the more top spin we're having. And therefore the overpower is not needed that much when it comes to better drivers. Half a ball of curl to the left and we have a lot of room for error. You can hit great left, great right. You will not be anywhere near the rough. The plan is to get into maximum distance of our club here, and here I'm using the Sniper level 9, which obviously is not having the amount of distance as we kind of wanted to, but here comes the side spin 3 in very handy. The further down we're getting on the fairway with our drive, the easier this shot is going to be, as we then can move more left and then we do not have to play that close to the bunker. We use 3 bars of side spin to the left, keep ourselves in maximum distance and basically just applying backspin depending on how much we need. And in this case we only need a click, but I would honestly like to have a little bit more, as I don't want to come in too hot. But again, we are a bit afraid of the bunker, and then it's better to come in a little bit hot than not. Unlucky to hit the pin and roll out, but once again, if we do hit a perfect or a great right with our drive, we will have no problem with staying away from the bunker. But with a bad great left, as I did with my drive, we will be putting ourselves more to the left, and therefore we will not be in the position that we want to. So the drive here on hole number 1 is key, as this is a tough par 4 after the revamp, much longer, but in the end though, we still have a sniper for a decent chance of an eagle. For hole number 2, I'm going to attempt a more aggressive route, and I'm going to explain why in the end of this shot. First, I'm using 1 and a click backspin, but I will change this around and we will go with 1 backspin and 1 bar of left spin here. And we are looking to get the ball to roll up the hill there on the green to fall down towards the pin. Using the, the inner ring, the new inner ring to be just by the edge of the rough. And this rough has been changed since the last time we played, which makes this one way more consistent nowadays. I'm looking for the pull angle to be straight like a 12, but if I'm gonna favor any side, it's going to be 12 or 1. Minimum distance with a 5% over adjustment is what I'm playing here in this video, and you will notice that the ball comes up nicely, fall down towards the pin, but we just burn the edge, so we do need 1 decimal less. So the thing that I would like you to do is that we are going to play minimum distance plus 5, but then from that number you will reduce 1 decimal, so 0.1 less, and then we will see that one being very nice. I've hit great left and I've hit great right already, weirdly enough, and I've still clipped the rough with adjustment. So don't be afraid of the narrow spot that we're playing at. So if we just do what we are supposed to do, we will see ourselves having a much better chance to do the rough bump instead of bouncing before on the fairway to try to go up the bank and fall down towards the pin. Because I choose to go rough one based on experience here, because we have had struggled big time in general to find the consistency with the shot going to the left, because it's so many things that's gonna happen along the way, many different bounces here. Now once they change the rough bump, I'm gonna dig into that and we're gonna dial it in. But once again, min +5, kingmaker ball to reduce the wind, one back, one left, and then you know, 1 decimal less with our adjustment, and then we're gonna be there. For hole number 3, we're looking to choose the driver with the most topspin possible. And with that being said, I would say a big topper, or you can use a Thor Salmon level 6, 6+, or even a 5+, Apocalypse 4+, or an extra mile 8+. Again, we do not want to play with less than 6 bars of topspin, which in my opinion feel that is absolutely minimum. Here I'm also using a Wind 0 Power 5 ball, and that is also something that you can have in mind when you play this drive here, that the higher wind you have, the better it's going to be for you. So if you can play with a Wind 0 Power 5 ball, please do. Otherwise you go to the free to play ball called Berserker, which you can win for free in the golden shot. But once again, here we do play with the driver that gives us the absolute most power and topspin. And in the end, if you don't have any of the clubs that I've already mentioned, a big topper in whatever level you have will be the club that you need to go to then. Because the big topper has the topspin. Problem with the big topper is that it doesn't have the power, and it does have a very bad accuracy as well. And that is something that we do need to have in mind. Adjust max +10, push up to max, and then just full blast overpower. And trust me, you will not roll into the rough on the top, because you have so much distance to cover if you're gonna get there. But the closer we are to the top of the rough, the better it's going to be. If I do play with a superior driver like the Thor's Hammer level 6 or any other clubs that do have a very good amount of topspin, we can play with the sniper, which obviously will help tremendously trying to get the ball up there to green area. If we do not have a driver with the amount of topspin like a Thor's Hammer, let's say like a Thor's Hammer with 7+ topspin bars. If we play with clubs like 6 bars of topspin, I would strongly recommend you to play with the Big Dog or the Cataclysm instead, to have the power on your club so you do not have to overpower your sniper. Because now we're only looking to get this ball up to the green area and using half a ball of curl to just push the ball a little bit in there to the right and then bounce up to the green. And the plan was to have the ball to stay on the green, but I rather want the ball to go long than want to go the ball to go short and fall into the bunker, because we do have fairway and we do have fringe. If we go too far, and that is a very simple wedge. You may be wondering, why don't I go for pin? It's because that route is going to be super duper difficult, and trust me, we will not see many albatrosses on this route, on this hole, if any, and therefore I play it safe and I take my eagle and I move on to the next hole. For hole number 4, I'm going to play with the rock, if I do have it in level 7. Plus, if not, then I will be playing with whatever other driver that I feel the most comfortable with. It could be the Extra Mile, it could be the Thor's Hammer, it could be the Apocalypse. I want to play with a Kingmaker here, because I do want to reduce the wind as much as possible for the approach. Not for the drive, that it doesn't really matter. White ring by the rough line to the left, and I'm using as much top spin and as much right spin possible. Adjustment is going to be maximum distance +5, and then we're going to take our shot. And I'm not using any overpower, even though I adjust into overpower. You may wonder, why is that? It's because we do want to find a consistent distance all the time. Then I'd rather stay away from overpower and prevent myself from hitting more great balls and then get to a consistent yardage. 362 yard mark, and here I'm going to find, you know, a sniper position here by the rough, top of the yellow ring by the rough line, and we're using 1 bar of left spin, half a bar of backspin, so the ball guideline goes slightly through the hole. Adjustment is medium distance plus 5 is what I'm using from 362, but for those of you that paying close attention, we will be needing 1 decimal less to get this ball to drop. And therefore I would recommend you to play medium distance plus 5, but from 362 yard mark we need to reduce 1 decimal, which is approximately 3% on our slider. You can see we just take the left edge of the cup, which means that we slightly over adjusted our shot. And in the end, once again, the wind reduction on the Kingmaker is very, very good for us, because the more wind we have, the further down we're going to adjust into that rough, going for that rough bump. And we do want to stay away from the bunker, because otherwise that will become a problem for us when adjusting for the pin. Once again, hole number 4 is a tough par 4, but with this route here explained, I do believe we have something to work with and to go for an eagle. For hole number 5, we are once again going to attempt a rough bump. 1 backspin, half a bar of left spin, and I'm using a navigator ball. Top of the yellow ring with the quarterback by the edge of the rough. And you can see here that the ball guideline is going to the hole. Now, when we do adjust, we're going to adjust with medium distance plus 10. And I would like you to play with an 11:59 pull angle. Now you can see that I do have a 12 in pull angle. So I'm pulling myself a bit more to the right than I want to. So we do need to make sure that we do have an 11:59 pull angle, which means that the needle is going to be in the center, pushing center left, or like shivering center left, whatever it's called in English. We do want the ball to go up the bank there and fall down towards the pin. In the end, this here is why we do need a pull angle 11:59 to keep the medium distance plus 10 and then get that one in the hole. I do really believe that this is going to be the best way to play compared to playing on the left, where we do have to rely on many bounces before the ball gets to the pin. For hole number 6, ladies and gentlemen, I will give you 2 types of drives here. And the reason I want to give you 2 types of drives is that I want to show you one with a quarterback and one with Apocalypse. Here I'm going with quarterback level 10. And have in mind that this shot is not recommended if you're not having at least a quarterback level 9. Quarterback level 8 and below will have a problem with the power and will most likely be clipped or cut away by the tree when taking this shot. The thing that I'm doing here is I'm adding as much topspin possible, and in the end I add 2 bars of left spin as well, and you're gonna see why I do need that left spin, and we're gonna talk about that in just a bit. Stretching out my target to point towards the tree that is just on the right side of the pink bush. And now you can see a bounce on the fairway nicely, but the second bounce is in the rough. So the thing that I would like you to do is to, once you do pull back and go max overpower and max curl to the right, you need to reduce 1 ball of curl from max curl to the right. Because otherwise we will clip the rough for the second bounce, and then that's not gonna be good. So we do want to do that, otherwise we're gonna once again be in problem. You may wonder, why do we go with a power slice and not trying to lay up or trying to go for the right on the right hand side? It's because, you know, if we do that, we will decrease the possibility for an albatross big time. So if we do want to go for an albatross, this is the way that we do need to play, even though it's a very risky drive that could potentially make you, struggle with this hole. And not to scare you in any way, but it is a very technical drive, but we do want to push it to the limit because we do want to have a possibility to make an albatross. Now, our opponent is playing with an Apocalypse level 7, but please disregard the level there, because this shot could be played exactly the same with Apocalypse 654. And even to a stretch Apoc 3 and Apoc 2, but I will talk about that in just a bit. You can see that our opponent stretch out towards that pink bush and then pulls back approximately 3 rings after pushing up to that bush, and that is with a driver with 240 yards. Adjustment maximum distance plus 20, and then it's time to go with max overpower, max curl to the right, and as you are not in maximum distance, you will notice that the needle will not go that quick, because once you do go max overpower and are not in max distance, you won't be having that, very shaky needle. Our opponent gets very nicely down there to the fairway, and I would say you could push this one with an extra side spin bar or two to try to utilize as much of side spin possible. And also have in mind, with Apocalypse we do play with a power 3 ball. You may be wondering what to do with a club like Apocalypse level 2 at level 3, which has less power. Then go with a power 5 ball instead and play the same. Because the thing that we do not get is the power, and then the power 5 will help to compensate for that. The second shot is going to be so much dependent on where you end up after your drive. So it's either going to be some shot through the trees, or we're going to be further down and we're going to shoot to the, not having the trees in our face in any form. So that is something that you will have to adjust on the fly. That is also what makes this hole very difficult to consistently make an albatross on. Adjustment when it comes to the elevation is, however, 20% over adjustment, and obviously you do need to measure the club distance, so as our opponent here is slightly under adjusted, but that is something that we do need to have in mind. It is early in the tournament, and that is something we do need to work with. So elevation 20%, we're going to be somewhere around medium distance, but could sometimes be in maximum distance or minimum distance as well, depending on, once again, where we end up with our drive. Very tough par 5. If you do not feel comfortable going with a power slice in any form, lay up, take your eagle and be done with it. But it's always very, very boring to play a hole in a tournament where we cannot even go for an albatross. That's why we're focusing on the power slice. For hole number 7, I will give you two type of approaches, and we're gonna start playing on the left hand side. 4.5 bar topspin, 3 bars of side spin to the right, red ring by the rough line, playing with extra mile level 7. If you do have a driver with more topspin, use that topspin. So use as much topspin possible with as much side spin to the right possible. Adjustment maximum distance plus 10, and then we're gonna go with half a ball of curl to the right. Obviously, the plan is to hit perfect and the ball bounces nicely on the fairway, and we're getting over, looking to get just past the shadow there, obviously a little bit longer, but that is at least the minimum we want, 359 yards. Second shot is going to be with our Grizzly. Minimum distance, we are very close to it, but we won't be playing minimum distance. Here I'm first trying to look for the funnel that comes from the top right, meaning that there is a massive funnel coming from the top right. You will see that in the next example. But now I'm using 4 bars of backspin, a little bit left spin, trying to get in that little groove that we are there, which is going to be very helpful for us going towards the pin. Adjustment, what I'm doing here is medium distance plus 10. And the medium distance plus 10 is 5.8 rings with the Grizzly level 7. And now obviously we try to hit perfect, and you're gonna see how nicely this ball comes into the green and falls down towards the pin. The problem is though, we're a little bit too long. We needed 1 decimal less. Oh my god, so rude taking a 360. But this, in my opinion, is going to be a very good chance making an eagle. For those of you playing with superior drivers, you're gonna love the shot that you're gonna see here next. So, for the more aggressive approach here, you see the Thor's Hammer level 6. And here I'm playing with close to 8 bars of topspin. And I would recommend you to not play this shot if you do not have at least a Thor's Hammer level 6 or an Apocalypse level 7. Or in that case, Extra Mile level 9. So this is only for the players out there playing with more superior clubs in Pro. Using a Berserker ball, and we're looking for a wind that is around 7.5 miles per hour. If we do have a higher wind, you need to take off a little bit of overpower, not much, just a little bit. If you do have less wind, try to choose a different ball, a wind 0 power 5 instead of a wind 1 power 5 as the Berserker. Maximum distance plus 10, we push up to max, and then we go with half a ball of curl to the left with max overpower. Now for the second shot, look at this funnel. Disregard the ball guideline because it doesn't really matter if we roll in a very nice speed towards the pin anyway. But look at this amazing funnel. You see here, I can basically move like 10-15 rings with the Endbringer and I'm still going to be inside that funnel. So if we're gonna miss this one, it's gonna be something very, very strange that we do make with our adjustment. But please, disregard the ball guideline because in the end, even though it shows going massively through the hole, it will not have any problem fall down into the hole when hitting the pin. I would suggest you adjusting 1-to-1 with the Endbringer level 5 here, which obviously will not be the same with all the wedges, but the thing that you're looking for here for this wedge is to get as good ball guideline as possible. And as you can see here, you know, we roll down and we hit the pin and we fall nicely down for an eagle. So from that side, with that funnel, I do not see how we should miss that one. So try to look for it. You might need to use different spin from time to time depending on where you end up. And especially if you end up into the rough, that will also be helping tremendously, just catching that funnel from the rough instead of having to rely on the fact to hit absolutely perfect. Because a great ball could definitely be going in with that massive funnel. So both an aggressive approach and a more, not conservative approach, but a normal approach here for hole number 7. For hole number 8, I'm looking to go with the quarterback level 9 or level 10. I'm looking for the backspin that we do have on that club. If I do not have the quarterback, I would recommend you to go with the rocket instead, if you do have the rocket in level 10. Here, I'm looking for one specific reference. Bottom part of the yellow ring by the start of the fringe, just before the +2 yard mark. So just before it turns to +2. Max backspin, 3 bars of left spin. Adjustment is going to be with a 1201 pull angle, okay? So 1201 pull angle is what I'm looking for. And then we adjust max +5. And we get the ball to bounce nicely on the fringe. And you can see here that it slows down, turns in for a nice hole-in-one. So no curl is needed, max +5. Favor 1201, or like not favor, but 1201 pull angle is important, and the reason we use that pull angle is to take away the effect that the bunker is having, because we do adjust down to a lower point. Kingmaker here to keep the power, because otherwise we will risk going in between clubs. What a lovely one here in hole number 8. I don't know how many times we have played this hole of the Southern Pines, and we have played it the same way every single time because we have had tailwind every single time. So, what do? We use the driver with the most topspin. So here I would rather play with a big topper in a low level, doesn't have to be a level 5. Big topper, level 1, level 2, or instead of playing with an extra mile level 7 or level 8 for an example. So we're looking to use as much topspin possible. I would, however, like to go with a Thor Sama level 6 above the big topper at least, as Apocalypse level 6 plus as well, combined with extra mile level 9. But looking at the big topper, we do adjust max +10 with big topper level 5. And then we do push up to max after the adjustment, and then we in the end are going to apply overpower. I would recommend to go with 1 ring of overpower with big topper level 5. If you do have lower level big topper, you need to increase the overpower, and that is obviously something that I will be having in the Patreon guide to help you not clipping the rough. We rather want to bounce further back so we don't risk clipping the rough, then we want to, be squeezing that through just before the rough. So max +10, push up to max, go with some overpower, try to get the ball to roll as far down possible. Now, for those of you playing with sniper level 10, it wouldn't be a bad club to use, especially if you are determined to get a very nice amount of distance when it comes to the drive. I'm using in this case close to 6 bars of topspin. I would recommend to go with 5 here because we do have tailwind, leaving the second bounce to be approximately 2 rings from the end of the edge of the rough. And we're also using 2 bars of side spin to the right to make us move more left as a start, so we can clip the rough even with a great right. The problem we do have with tailwind is to compensate for the extended ball guideline. And after the adjustment, which is max plus 5, I do see here that this ball will come in a little bit too hot as we do clip the rough very far up. So we do need to back up a little bit and give ourselves 3 rings of room when it comes to the second bounce, because our plan is actually to clip the rough and roll down towards the pin. Those of you playing with a horizon in at least level 4, you can play with that one as well. You will have a better ball guideline, which will help you tremendously attacking the pin. But have in mind that this is not an like a consistent albatross hole. We are looking to do the double bounce into the rough to give us an albatross attempt. Otherwise we could just lay up on the green on the right and take a simple eagle pot. So we're looking for the albatross, but don't be mad or sad if you do get an eagle, because an albatross here once again is super rare. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro Division with the tournament win here for the Summer Major Tournament. Video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure to get the best guides on the market on patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Much love to you all and good luck in the Summer Major Tournament.